So do you want to get started in overlanding? You've come to the right place. Hi everybody, I'm Rob and this is Storm Crew Overland, where we talk about going on adventures, road trips, camping, and just generally getting out and enjoying life. On this week's episode, we're going to go over the 4 main things that you need to consider to get ready to go overlanding for the first time. The main things you really need, you need somewhere to go. It doesn't have to be anything real fancy. State park, forest land, food, water, shelter. We'll go into each of those a little further in depth, but the main thing is this is not something you want to overthink. This is simple. This is simple stuff. It doesn't take a lot of stuff. It doesn't take a lot of money. It doesn't take a lot of time. The main thing is just if this is something you want to do, it's time to just pick up and do it. So to get started in overlanding, especially for your first trip, the first thing you really need is somewhere to go. If it's your first trip, don't try to do a 2-week trip down through Baja. I wouldn't even do a week-long trip to Moab or anything. Start with something simple. Gives you a chance to kind of test it out, see how you like it, test out what gear you have. It gives you a chance to figure out what else you need to go on these adventures. Does your vehicle need something? Do you need a piece of gear you didn't think of? Is it just something you have at home that you didn't bring that you are, oh man, I really wish I would have brought XYZ. So my suggestion will be to start simple. State park, national park, national forest, whatever you have close to you, something that you can go to, and if you forget something catastrophic, the worst case is you got to pack up, drive an hour home. But with that whole going somewhere to go, you need to know where to go, where parks are, where campsites are. I keep a giant packet of paper maps because I'm kind of old school. I really like paper maps, especially for planning. So you don't have to have paper maps. You can go on state park web pages, national park web pages. You can go to national forest web pages, BLM land, whatever. Find motor vehicle use maps, campsite maps. You can Google any of this and find all these things. And then if you want, you can just download them. I've mentioned before, I'm an Onyx trail guide. I have Onyx loaded on my tablet. I have waypoints saved all across the U.S. of places I have been that were really neat or places that I really want to go to. That's another really good way to find that place to go. And it's great. Like for me, I've got Android Auto in my car. I load the stuff up, go to Onyx, go right to it. Like I said, tablet a little bigger, something to look at, help me try to find somewhere else to go, or if I just want to look at the map a little bit bigger than what's on my dash. So that kind of really wraps up the first part, which is realistically almost pretty much the easiest part. You need somewhere to go. And once you found somewhere to go, then you get to transition into the next part, which is going to be food. So once you've figured out where you're going to go, the next step would be to figure out what are you going to eat when you get there. I'll let you on a little secret. This is most of my camp cooking stuff. I don't even think it's all of it. And realistically, you don't need any of it to get started. If you're getting started, you can do things really, really simple if you want. Some of my very first trips, I would stop at Subway for lunch, get a foot long, eat half of it, and then save the other half to eat at night at the campsite. Or take a Lunchable, or take some pepperoni and crackers. You can go as simple as you want. You don't even need a fridge or a cooler or anything like that if you don't want. Like I said, pepperoni will keep a long time. A lot of cheeses will keep longer than you think without refrigeration. Take crackers and peanut butter if you want. If you don't care about what you're going to eat, find the easiest thing to take that doesn't require any prep or any special care, and take that. If you'd like to cook, if you want to be Marco from X Overland and do the whole cook crazy meal thing, go for it. Sometimes I want to do that. Sometimes I'm taking all of this stuff and making something crazy. Other times I'm not. I'm taking something real simple, or I might grab a pizza on the road and take the rest of it to camp. Like I said, it can be as easy or as complicated as you want it to be, and it can basically require as little or as much gear as you really want. If you have nothing, if you have no camp cookware whatsoever and you're not sure what to start with, I would recommend with something very simple and easy. This is a little backpacking stove. The stove itself is like $7 on Amazon. Fuel tank is like $5-6. Get that, and then something simple like a little $5 metal cup. It'll let you boil water. You can use it to make oatmeal. You make hot chocolate. You can make pasta in it. You can do it heat up water for a backpacking meal. Gives you a lot of options for not a lot of money and really small. Will fit anybody's rig. It'll fit in your backpack. So like I said, that's some tips on getting started with food for your first trip. Basically, like I said, it can be as easy or as complicated as you want it to be. Next, we're going to take a look at shelter. All right, so now that we've gotten to camp and we've gotten some food in our belly, we're going to talk about where you're going to sleep when you go on your first trip. This is like everything else. It can be real simple, real complicated. Plenty of people just sleep in their car. You can lay the back seats out. 4th Gen 4Runner is real nice. You can pop the headrest off the passenger seat. It will lay completely flat and turn and basically connect to the back seat and make a bed. You can build a little platform to sleep back there. I mentioned in a previous video that there was an issue with a bear in my campsite, and I just slept with the driver's seat. Just reclined it back, threw a pillow, threw a blanket on, slept great. Those are easy options that require you to spend basically no money. You can bring your sheets and blankets from home. They work just as good at a campsite as they do at home. There's no point in buying a dedicated set of camping pillows or camping sheets unless you just want to. Other things, something to sleep in. If you don't want to sleep in your rig, you really don't need a rooftop tent. They're awesome. I maybe get one. I might get one day. We'll see. But down here, it's a 6-man dome tent that I got for $60 at the BX in Germany probably 12 years ago. It still works great. I used it for a week going out to Colorado last year. Still works great. I might try to upgrade this year, maybe, from my $60 tent that I've been using for 12 years. On top of it, it's a smaller 3-man tent that I got from Walmart for, I think, $35. It is not the greatest quality tent, but it is a tent. It does work. It is rainproof. It will stand it to at least some amount of wind. I like having two, so if my kid goes with me, she can have her own tent. Or if I'm going by myself and I don't want to take the full-size 6-person dome tent, it gives me a smaller kind of backpacking tent to take. And then in the tent, if I need something to sleep on, I love this thing. You do not, if you want, you can sleep on the ground. You can buy a foam mat to sleep on. You can buy a cheap $20 air mattress. Lots of options. You don't have to spend a lot of money. It's all based on your comfort level. Last year, I broke down and spent a good chunk of money on this. It is the RAI Camp Dreamer self-inflating. It's about a 4-inch self-inflating mattress with foam in it. I've slept on this thing many nights. I love it. It is a great air mattress. It's expensive for an air mattress. It's very bulky, takes up a lot of room in the rig, but it's worth it for me. I will probably do a video on this by itself later because I've also spent many nights because of COVID or the flu, quarantined in my office here at home, sleeping on the floor, and have slept amazing. The other neat part with it having foam inside, it's got a great R value. It's got an R value of 6.5. That's important because you lose a lot of heat to the ground on a traditional air mattress because it's just air in there. You don't have anything to insulate you. So with this, it keeps you a lot warmer in a cold environment. Keeps you cooler when it's real hot out too. It's nice to have an insulated thing to sleep on. Like I said, that's really about it when it comes to sleeping options. Shelter is pretty easy. Tent, rooftop tent, sleep in your rig. They all kind of work. And then after that, next we're going to look at options for water. Finally, something we all need to think about when we're out doing adventuring, probably need to think about more than on our day-to-day life, is water. Water's not always easy to come by when you're out overlanding, out camping. It's not just as easy as just running to the faucet. And you're probably out doing things, so you're going to be not drinking as much, higher chance of being dehydrated, so it's important that you drink water. This one's pretty easy. I don't do anything real complicated here. I usually repurpose gallon jugs. I'll buy a gallon jug of drinking water, drink it, fill it back up once it's empty. May take water in a big thermos, something like that. Use these to kind of keep them cold, keep these either in the fridge or the cooler, and then just transfer to a small Nalgene to be drinking out of throughout the day. Like I said, water is one of the easier ones. It's like everything else though. You can go complicated if you want, all the way up to, jerry cans or lifesaver filters. I do keep a small water filter in my rig all the time. It's a little Sawyer mini squeeze, just a way to filter water if I don't have water with me. I try not to depend on it unless I'm in locations where I just have to. Try to always have at least a gallon per person per day when I'm out adventuring. That really kind of wraps up what we were talking about for how to get started overlanding. We went over how to find a place to go, what to eat while you're there, how to sleep, where to sleep while you're there, and then water to keep you dehydrated or to keep you from being dehydrated while you're out there. Um, like I said, this is really a simple thing. Don't let a lack of gear stop you from going out there and overlanding. This is advice that I heard when I got started, and I listened some, but I didn't listen as well as I should have. And there's plenty of gear that I bought because I'm like, oh, I have to have this. And then I got it and I took it out, used it a couple times, and I'm like, I really should have got that other thing instead. Or there's some things that I'm like, I really didn't need this at all. I should have just not bought this. So go out with, I challenge you to go out with as little stuff as you possibly think you can get away with. And then just see from there. When you get back, take a minute, sit down and be like, okay, is there something that I really, really wish I had taken that I didn't? Or is there a piece of gear that would have made my life either better or more fun if I had something a little different or something better? Or is there something about my setup that's going to make it not as much fun? So something I need to make a change to. Go out, have those experiences to help you learn what you need to kind of help perfect your gear setup. And this is a constant thing. I've got tons of gear. I've got whole shelves of gear in my garage, from kayaking gear, backpacking gear, camping gear. It's all got turned into overlanding gear, kind of. It all gets shared between the different hobbies. But it's a never-ending kind of journey of, oh, well, this is great, but this will meet my needs slightly better. You're always going to be kind of going through and evolving and looking at every trip you go. Okay, this worked really good, or this didn't, or man, I need to bring this instead of that. And that's okay. It's a constant evolution where you're going to keep learning what works for you. Hopefully this is helpful. I really hope you get out. If you have not been overlanding or getting out and do some outdoor adventuring stuff, I hope you do. And if you do, send me a message. I'd love to hear about what you did, where you went, what you learned. This is something that's really helping me kind of examine my own, what I'm doing, how I'm doing things, helping me learn. So I'd love to learn from y'all as well. If you're watching this on YouTube, we release the audio also as a podcast. You can find it on any podcast engine you look on, just Stormcrow Overland. If you're listening to this as a podcast, hey, we're on YouTube, Stormcrow Overland. Look us up there. Give us a watch. If you like what we're doing, we're trying to build a community of like-minded individuals. So give us a like, comment, follow, subscribe, any of those things. We're also on Instagram at Stormcrow Overland. Really appreciate y'all joining me this evening. Remember, sometimes it takes really going out and getting lost before you can find yourself. Thanks for watching.